Hi everyone. Today's art lesson is based on the book Giraffes Can't Dance. Okay, this is going to be a really fun picture because in that book, Gerald, the giraffe, at the very end of the book, in the nighttime, finally hears the song that makes him dance. So we're going to do a dancing Gerald the giraffe. Okay, Gerald, our giraffe, is going to take up about the whole side of our left-hand side of the paper. Then we're going to do a moon and we're going to incorporate some grass. All right, let's get started. Now, we're going to do this a little bit differently than I've ever done it with you before. So we're going to start with a shape, kind of like we always do, but then we're going to go into drawing some lines first and then adding shapes on top of the lines. So let me get to that. Okay, so Gerald, our giraffe, is going to start out the top right here with his head. So when you're going to use a pencil and have all my materials right here. You're going to start with a pencil and you're going to draw very, very lightly, sketching lines. I talked about this once with you before. If you imagine your pencil just tickling your hand, and right here I'm not even drawing on my hand, I'm just tickling it. Barely touching that hand, that's how I want you to touch your paper. Just very, very, very lightly. And we're going to draw in sketch mode here, which is sometimes I draw over it a couple times and you might almost barely be able to see it. So I'm just drawing an oval right here in the top left-hand side of my paper. And then what I'm going to do is, like I said before, I'm going to draw lines, not shapes yet, but lines. So we're going to draw the shape of Gerald's neck to body to back right here. So we're going to imagine an S that is just stretched out and super elongated, almost like a noodle. So we're going to go out, in, and out. Not a huge S right there, but just a very light. I'll draw that a little bit darker because it's a little difficult to see. And I'm going to end up erasing this, so don't do it super dark. Now we have our oval with our little tail right here. And we're going to add some other lines to that. So what we're going to do is, Gerald is going to be dancing. He's going to have one arm straight out and one arm bent. So we're going to start with our bent arm. So down here on our line, we're going to make a diagonal line, a little bit out, down, and straight back in like this. But we're not going to connect it anywhere. Then Gerald's other hand, you'll start to see how this takes shape really quickly. It's going to go straight out like that. And now we need some legs. This one's going to go out and down. And this back leg right here is going to go down and out a little bit. Okay, so now what we've essentially have right here, hopefully you guys can see that, is we have kind of a stick figure of our giraffe. Okay, fantastic. Now let's move on. Now what we're going to do is what I like to call kind of pretending that this is almost like a puppet, and we're going to dress our stick figure giraffe. So let's go and add a little more detail here. So we're going to start with the top of our head real quick, and I'm going to work on the horns. Now giraffes have an ear, and they also have little horns that come up top. So let's start with these horns. The horns are going to come about right up here at the top. So just a little curved line like this, and another curved line like this up here, almost like two little rectangles. And then off to the back side right here, we're going to have our ear. So our ear, it's just like drawing a large leaf when we draw our ear. So it's going to come right out like that. Fantastic. There we go. Okay, so now you're kind of getting what we're doing with our shape. And very, very, very lightly. And if you can see what I'm doing, kindergartners, this is kind of a big concept, is it looks like I'm drawing lots of kind of messy lines, but what I'm doing is just very, very, very lightly drawing these sketch lines that can be easily erased. Okay, so now let's get in our face in here a little bit. So now we have this big oval. We kind of need to make it into a little bit more of a giraffe shape. So we're going to, what's called fine tuning it, make it look a little more like a nose, come down. And this is something all animals have. They kind of have this, it's almost like a jowl right here, right underneath, and kind of curves up. Okay, we're going to leave it like that. Now we're going to add our eyes. And this is something I love about Gerald the giraffe, is that he's smiling. And so we're going to do two curved little rainbows. And you notice how I'm not doing them horizontally this way. I'm almost doing them kind of diagonally because Gerald's face is facing this way. Okay, 2 dots for the nose. And notice again, the nose is this way, so it looks like it's pointing up. It's not, Gerald is not coming straight out at us. And then we're gonna add a little smile. And now you can kind of see how that face is taking shape. If you want to add some eyelashes right there to look like Gerald's smiling, or I mean to look like Gerald has his eyes closed. I'm sorry. I'm gonna fix this smile here really quick. There we go. I can go back in there and kind of really fine tune it. Okay, perfect. So now we have the shape of our face in there. Now we still have a stick figure body, and we really need to dress this stick figure body and add some skin to this body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, this is almost like the spine. Like in a human, you have your spine, it runs straight from the top of your neck all the way down to the back. And we're going to use this as our spine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come off the front a little bit and around it. So not on my line, but on either side of my line. I'm going to add a neck right here. And then what I'm going to do is add a little bit of my mane right there. Then I'm going to skip my arm real quick and come down and do a body. And this is Gerald's stomach. So we're going to kind of go out a little bit, kind of make a big tummy. And then come back here with the back. And on the other side, so instead of making the back curve in this way, we kind of want to make the back look like it has some shape. So you can kind of follow along with that. Okay, I'm going to go back to my arm. This is a little bit of a complicated drawing. So if you need to pause it and go back and kind of erase, that's fine. All right, so on either side of my arm, I'm going to add a little bit, dress up that arm. 1, 2. Now I have a lot of lines going on here. So what's going to happen is, unless I know where everything is, I'm going to get a little confused. So what I can do is, see how I have my arm right there? And I went on either side of that kind of stick figure arm. And now what I can do is I can go back and kind of erase that line in the middle because it's looking a little confusing right there. All right, and now I'm going to fix my back a little bit. And true artists do a lot of erasing. So if you're doing some erasing and feeling like maybe you're making some mistakes, that's what all artists do. They go back and then they fix their mistakes. Okay, there we go. Now I need to add in something for my arm up here. So Gerald's arm is going straight out right there. Straight out. And I'm going to make a little hoof. And my hoof is going to be facing up like this. So now you can see how Gerald's kind of pushing his arm out and pushing this arm back. Perfect. Now let's add a little bit to our body. We're going to go here. And like I said, this is going to be the center kind of our leg. So I'm going to go out, down, and a little bit under and down. And make a little hoof. There we go. And if it helps you to erase that middle line, go ahead and do that. Now we're on our back of Gerald's leg. So animals always have kind of a big calf muscle right here. So we're gonna go right here. There we go. Or not a big calf muscle, a big like upper thigh muscle, I'm sorry. And go back down here. And we're gonna fix this a little bit. And Gerald's dancing, so he's being really silly and dancing. So we're gonna make him have a funny little dancing leg right here, kind of going back. Now remember, giraffes do not have very thick legs. Well, they have thick at the top, but they're a little skinny at the bottom. There we go. So now he kind of looks like he's dancing. All right, perfect. Now we're going to add, well, you know what I think might help is if we erased some of these center lines. So let's erase some of these center lines so we're not getting confused as to where everything is. So I erase that line, I erase that line. Perfect. There we go. Okay. Now before we add anything more to Gerald or Giraffe, let's get in a little bit of a background sketch right here. So since this particular scene takes place at night, we're going to add a big moon in here. So I'm going to add a circle moon. And if you want to use a template, maybe like the top of a cup or the bottom of a cup or something, if you really feel like you would like a perfect circle, you can. I don't know if that's super necessary. I just sort of like to do a little circle right there. And I'm going to add in some grass. Just kind of back and forth for my grass. Notice how my grass is up a little bit off the bottom. It's not right on the bottom. That will make Gerald look like he's really dancing in the grass and not kind of floating on top of it. Okay, so your next step is we're going to add a little bit of a belly to our giraffe right there. All right, perfect. And we need to add a little bit of a tail. So what is Gerald's tail doing? Gerald's tail is kind of coming out like this and a little bit bushy like that. Perfect. Okay, we're going to stop right there. And our next step is you're going to outline all of your, every single line that you drew with your giraffe in a black marker. If you just have a black crayon, you can do it in black crayon as well. All right, we'll be right back. Go ahead and outline your giraffe.